What's going on YouTube? Kamikazevondoom here with another Division 2 build video. Now this is going to be my Pestilence Striker build with Hazard Protection. You can sustain your health, you can use the damage, and on top of that, the Striker stacks with the damage just makes it a game changer. You can sit there and face tank whoever you want. I will have several clips after this build showing just that. Not only face tanking one person, but face tanking them, not healing up, rolling around, face tank the second guy, roll back, face tank a third guy. I mean, you'll see it after this video. It's just ridiculous. Once you get stacks with the amount of damage that I already have on my Pestilence, you get 1 kill and you'll get 2 kills, 3 kills, because not only do you have the stacks on your weapon itself, but you're using the Pestilence. So all that damage goes into that Plague of the Outcast bleed status effect, and then it moves to the next guy, and then the next guy, so that by the time you're done face tanking the first guy, you roll, the next person is already half health, because your Plague of the Outcast has already burnt through their armor. Not only that, but if they're using a shield, it's even better. You'll see it in the gameplay. All right, so enough sitting there trying to talk it up, do all the hype. Let's just get into it. But yes, I am Kamikazevondoom. If you guys enjoy it, make sure to hit that thumbs up. If you have any questions about the build or another build, let me know in the comment section below. And we do have a Discord server. We have a whole Discord community. I started about a week and a half ago, and we're already above 600 members in that community. We are on all platforms. We do LFG, raid runs, build ideas, PvE questions, hunter hunts, all of that. Just, yeah, it's good. So I'll leave the Discord link in the comment section below in a pinned comment. So if you guys enjoy that, come over to our Discord community. But alright, this is the Pestilence Striker Hazard Protection build. Yeah, this thing's dirty. I use it in PvP only. I have way too many other builds that I would prefer in PvE, but in PvP this thing is awesome. Now, we will start at the top. We are using the demo specialization. Reason being is when you're in conflict, you still get to use your specialization. And demo is a one-hit kill for the most part. I mean, you might catch a few people that are tanky, but in PvP, in the status that it's in right now, it really doesn't matter how tanky you are, you're still going to die. So I'm using that, and with the demo, you also get the damage to targets out of cover, you get the grenade launcher, you get the 7% crit hit chance laser pointer, and it's just a fun time. But I will say that the #1 reason I am using the demo is for the burn resistance. I did say this is a hazard build, so I'll go ahead and skip to that right now. So you can see right I'm sitting at about 65.4% hazard protection total. So all of my other ones are pretty much 65.4 base. However, running demo, you get another 20% burn resistance. So all those people using the chem launchers, all the people using the Imperial Dynasty holsters, the Pyromaniac, it doesn't matter. 85.4% burn resistance. Yeah, it appears on my screen, but it really doesn't affect me too much. I mean, if not at all. There's a few clips in here where I had some people, they were spamming chem launcher burns at me, and I was getting hit. I think I got hit by 2 of them in a row and still managed to kill them and 2 other players all within the same clip. It's just ridiculous. This isn't hazard, but using any sort of 4-piece gear set, you're not going to get max hazard. You could probably bump this up to, I would say, 75%, and then that way you have, 95% burn resistance. But let's see. Let's look at my watch. So, yeah, I'm not even maxed out on hazard protection yet. I am missing, what's that, 1.4? No, 2.4%. So add that into my hazard at 2.4. Yeah, so you could probably get about 98 to 99% burn resistance if you run hazard in all 6 slots and you have your watch maxed out at hazard. For me, I am not running hazard in all 6. My gloves does not have hazard. If I can get a pair of contractor gloves with hazard on it, that would be a done deal. However, I don't, so that's how you'd make this build even better. But let's talk about what I have. Starting with the weapons, I'm using the pestilence for many reasons, but the number one reason is the talent Plague of the Outcasts. Like I was saying, as soon as you face tank at all, get any sort of striker stacks, anything, it just makes this even more beautiful. So Plague of the Outcasts, you hit an enemy and it applies a debuff dealing 100% weapon damage over 10 seconds. You can stack that up to 50. Now, let's see. I could switch this to PvP just to make sure. 100%, stack it up to 50. Doesn't matter PvE or PvP. Now, 50 stacks of 100% weapon damage. The cool part is read the next blurb. Whenever an enemy dies with this debuff, all stacks are transferred to a nearby enemy for 25 seconds. So there's going to be a clip at the end of this video where I get downed when I face tank one guy. However, I got so many stacks on that one guy that when he died, it killed 2 other players. I get a 3v1 and I was on a knee the entire time. It's because whenever an enemy dies with that debuff, all the stacks go to the next guy. And we all know in PvP, a lot of people like to play close together. So you down one, and then the Plague of Outcasts spreads. It's a plague, and it is ridiculous. Using this with Striker, like, what's the base damage? 91.2k with this build. I'm only at 14% LMG damage, so you can get that even higher. So I'm sitting, 91.2k, and then if I get any sort of stacks at all, that's, even better. I mean, that's ridiculous, you guys. I completely love this build. I have been using this more than my True Patriot Pestilence because I'm not a huge... Whenever they changed it, that last update, I tried to stay away from True Patriot, and Striker is like the new thing. You get the RPMs, you get the weapon handling, you get the stacks, you are good to go. I'm telling you. Now, this Pestilence, 14% LMG damage, 11% damage to targets out of cover, and max of 6% damage to armor. Now, my secondary is the Glory Days. This is your named custom P416. It's basically laser beams. And what you want with a Striker build is you want laser beams. That way you can stack up your stacks and have a nice day. So this one's sitting at 89.3k total damage. I have 15% assault rifle damage, 12% health damage, and 10% damage to targets out of cover. What makes this a laser beam is perfect nearsighted. I receive 100% stability at the cost of 35% optimal range. So yeah, the damage does knock off a little bit more than a normal classic P416, but it doesn't matter because this thing shoots lasers. Now, what I did with this is I actually put accuracy mods on it. That way, if you look over here, my accuracy is above halfway and my stability is maxed out. So this thing shoots lasers no matter what. So accuracy across the board, and then the magazine, I did a sturdy extended mag for that 20 round plus, so I'm at 50 rounds per magazine. Now the sidearm, I would say you guys can use whatever it is you want. The reason I use the backup boomstick is because it's sitting at 1.2 million total damage. So if someone, catches me on surprise, maybe I'm reloading. We all know the Pestilence reload is pretty slow. So maybe I'm reloading and someone jumps behind me. I can, do a tumble roll, whip out my sidearm, and hopefully two-tap them. It does shoot, it has 2 in the magazine, so if I don't get them by that first hit, hopefully I get them by the second hit. It's pretty rare that happens, but if you're in a sticky situation, definitely whip the sucker out. It's at 1.2 million total damage with 16% shotgun damage and 12% damage to armor and 9% damage to targets out of cover. It's just that damage on damage on damage. I do have that talent where headshots give me 50% status effect damage and duration. So that's, always nice. Because remember, Plague of the Outcasts, status. Cough, cough. Alright, so looking at the build itself. This is a 4-piece striker with 1-piece yawl and the contractor gloves, which are Petrov. The reason I'm using the contractor gloves is for that maxed out attribute. We'll talk about that in a second. I'm using the yawl for the hazard, and we'll also talk about that for a second. But first, striker is the main reason about this build, so let's explain that first. So striker's battle gear, we have the gear set on, we have 4 pieces, so we get all of the bonuses. Now, for using 2 pieces, I have 15% weapon handling. 3, I get 15% rate of fire, and then 4, I get that striker's gamble. Weapon hits apply a total weapon damage by 0.5%, stacking up to 50. Now, that's what, 25% damage if I got max stacks. We're not getting max stats. We don't care about max stats. If you're using striker to run around with max, striker active, it doesn't matter. This is purely as a amplifier to what I'm already doing. Because remember, I'm sitting at 91.2k base damage on a pestilence. So what I want is that whenever I am face tanking, I want those hits to hurt them even more. Because y'all know that the pestilence ticks away basically as soon as I start shooting you. But if I'm hitting you harder and then my stacks are hitting you harder, it's just a done deal. That's why you run Unbreakable on the chest piece. That way you have that little cushion. And yeah, it's wicked. Now, the bottom blurb of Striker's Gamble. 1 stack is lost every second, and 3 stacks are lost every time you miss a shot. However, I am running the backpack. We all remember that the talents on the chest piece and the backpack amplifies the gear set bonuses. This one has the extra talent, Risk Management. Decreases your stacks lost on missed shot from 3 to 2. So I do have that little cushion where maybe they roll out and, I'm just shooting with the pestilence. I'm not losing as much as I normally would with this risk management. So there you go. That's the whole Striker's gear set bonus explained. Looking at the actual items, here's my Striker's mask, 15% weapon damage, 9.1% hazard protection, and 5.3% crit chance. That crit chance is from the red mod slot. So I could bump my hazard a little bit higher if I had this one max. And then also if I get hazard on the gloves. But we all know how RNG is. Now the Striker's backpack, again, 15% weapon damage, 8.7% hazard protection, so I could bump it up a little bit there too. And then this one also has a red mod slot, 5.4% crit chance. Going to the chest piece. This is the Y'all Gear chest piece. I had to craft this, and it is not my favorite at all. However, it has what I needed on it. I needed Unbreakable, and I needed 10% hazard protection as an attribute. However, the drawback is I do not have max armor as a core attribute. Luckily, I have 1 million armor, but I could bump it up, what's that, nearly 50,000 if I can find a better one. Now, like I said, this one is pivotal for your hazard protection. Y'all Gear brand set bonus number 1 gives me 10% hazard. I have 10% as an attribute, so just on this one piece is 20% of my hazard protection. So not having this would be a huge loss in the resistance area. Now the core attribute's pretty low. It's at 129,884. I already told you in a better life I would get a better one. The other attributes, you have explosive resistance at 7.3, which is a plus because a lot of people are using the artillery turret right now. So you want to try to, mitigate that explosion. And then it also another red mod slot, so 5.2% crit chance. Now, I kept the PvP stats up. You can see my screen is basically has like a little blue tint to it. Reason being is I wanted to show you what Unbreakable is in PvP. Unbreakable is probably, I'd probably say like top 3 maybe best chess pieces to run is an Unbreakable chess piece. Reason being is this is PvP. 50% of your armor. You can go look at the Terragrade or Tardigrade or whatever that exotic chess piece is. In PvP, it doesn't give you 50% at all. And yeah, a lot of people are running that exotic chess piece. I understand why it helps your team out, but as far as your personal sustainability, it's not going to be up to par. However, the Unbreakable, you get 50% of your armor back in PvP. This is once every minute. So, Unbreakable, when your armor is depleted, repairs 50% of your armor. That is really, really pivotal when it comes to PvP. Because when a person thinks you're about to go down, that's when they either try to move, they either try to rush at you to get that hit while you're on a knee. They mess up their playstyle. They think they've won. What this Unbreakable does is it's like, oh crap, and then you have half your armor back, and then you just keep going at them. Another cool thing with running Unbreakable is that you know you're running Unbreakable, but your opponent might not. So that's the little element of surprise where if I'm face tanking, I can rely on that Unbreakable to proc, so I can just keep face tanking. If I know I'm taking damage, it's okay because I know the Unbreakable is going to proc. Alright, that's pretty much said and done. Now the cool thing is I'm running 3 red mod slots. They are all crit chance. So I do have a little bit of crit chance on this pestilence, 24%. But that is good because when using this and trying to get those striker stacks, if I get a crit, that's even better. Now going to the gloves, you have the contractor gloves. Brand set bonus, I'm using these for the LMG damage. I mean, obviously. And then the attribute, that damage to armor is really nice. It's amplify, not it's multiplicative, not additive. So that 8% does a lot. Even though that these were nerfed, they still do a lot of damage. It's really nice. It's really hard not to use them even still because that damage to armor really does help. Now I have 15% weapon damage on here. You have that 8% damage to armor like all contractors gloves. But then I have crit chance as the other attribute. In a perfect build, you would want hazard protection right there. If you could get hazard protection right there and run that y'all gear with hazard and Unbreakable, this would be an unstoppable build. I mean, it already is. You'll see. All right, knee pad striker. Again, 15% weapon damage, but then max hazard. And then the holster, we chose armor, so max armor and max hazard. And that's pretty much it. That is the build. Now the skills I use just for PvP, I use the explosive seeker. That way not only I can catch them on a status, but if they're bleeding I can see the ticks and I can use that as my own version of a pulse because you can see the ticks through walls, through buildings, doesn't matter. You can even see where they're running, if they're sitting there, all this jazz. And then kind of the same logic goes into my Stinger Hive. My Stinger Hive does have 12 charges, maybe, no, 12. So it has 12 charges, and same thing. I get them on a tick, and I can basically follow that tick and claim my kill. Now finishing this up with the stat sheet. Weapon stats, this is for the Pestilence. PvP weapon damage, 44,142. We all know that it shows 91,203. Crit chance, 24.2. Crit damage, 25. Headshot damage, 65. But then you have this armor damage at 14%. That's huge. Now, the weapons tab, I have 70% all weapon damage bonus with 24% lightweight machine gun damage bonus. This gives me a total damage bonus of 94%. Not too shabby. I have 15% assault rifle damage, so that Glory Days has 85% damage bonus. Pretty nice. Now going to the defensive tab. I have 1,032,850 armor. That's with 281,430 health. I do have some health regeneration, but the big thing is the hazard protection. Currently, I'm sitting at 65.4. Obviously, I could get this higher just by my watch levels, and for the other reasons I told you guys. The burn resistance is the key part, 85.4%. That's good. If you can get that closer to 100, go for it. Now, I have 6.4% skill haste, but that's just for the watch. Alright, you guys, this is it. Pestilence Striker Hazard Protection build with Unbreakable. It's a shoe-in when you want a nice PvP build. I love it, and yeah, let's roll the old gameplay footage. Catch you guys in the next one. Remember, hit that like, subscribe to the channel. I'll see you guys. Peace.
Agent down. An agent needs assistance.
Point Charlie has been captured by the enemy. Point Charlie is now held by...
An agent needs assistance. Boost now active. Agent down. The boost is being taken by allies. Allies have acquired the boost. An agent needs assistance. Agent down. Rogue fixer drone detected.
friendly is claiming the supply drop.
Rogue striker drone detected.
Specialization supply drop was just picked up by a friendly.
Rogue defender drone detected.
The fight is halfway done. If the enemy doesn't turn this around, they'll be pulled out.
Rogue explosive seeker mine detected. An agent needs assistance. Vital signs critical. Agent down. Agent down. System curtailed. Fixer drone detected. Allies are acquiring the boost. The boost has been taken by allies. Rogue hive detected.
You won.